Alfred Lord Tennyson. The name itself seems a little odd, doesn't it? Why not Lord Alfred Tennyson? I don't have an answer. But one of the greatest stalwarts, towering figures of the Victorian Age. Yes, the Victorian Age, the name because of Queen Victoria. We have already looked at other poems by Browning, for example. So you know the rich literature of this period. So it is in this period that we are looking at yet another poet. Alfred Lord Tennyson, 1809 to 1892, poet laureate too. And we are told he continued writing right into his 80s. What did he write? He wrote some of the best poems of the period. One called Poems Chiefly Lyrical. It's also interesting that he was a major influence on the pre-Raphaelite poets. Go back and listen to my lecture on pre-Raphaelite poetry too. Other poems are Idylls of the King. He attempted drama too, but quickly came back to poetry. I believe he was greatly interested in science because, remember, the Victorian Age is that age where there was so much of conflict between science and religion. There was a musical quality to all his poems, and we see that in Tears, Idle Tears too. His elegy written for Hallam is another famous poem that we recollect when we think of Tennyson. Tears, Idle Tears is taken from the longer work called The Princess. Some people suggest that even though he did write an elegy to his friend Hallam, maybe it was the same death of that friend which caused him to write this poem too. Tears, Idle Tears. As I read the poem, I think the theme is of nostalgia. Let's begin by looking at the poem proper. Tears, idle tears, I know not what they mean. Tears from the depth of some divine despair rise in the heart and gather to the eyes. In looking on the happy autumn fields and thinking of the days that are no more. I think you'll agree with me that when we look at something tragic and we are sad, it is understandable. But when we look at something happy and tears rush to our eyes, we say they are tears of happiness. But I think what the poet is saying here is those tears could be caused by the fact that maybe this joy is short-lived, or maybe we are remembering something that is already gone. So even that could be a reason for our sorrow, for our tears. And that is exactly what Tennyson is saying here. In looking on happy autumn fields and thinking of the days that are no more. Thinking of the days that are no more. And then he compares, this beautiful imagery. When you're standing on the seashore, let me first read the verse and then talk about it. Fresh as the first beam glittering on a sail that brings our friends up from the underworld. Sad as the last which reddens over one that sinks with all we love below the verge. So sad, so fresh, the days that are no more. I mentioned the word nostalgia. Such a beautiful feeling, because in that remembering, there is joy in remembering, but there's also sorrow. So I was talking about standing on the beach, and I think as kids, or even as an adult, even as a grown-up person, when you stand on the beach and look at where the sea seems to meet the horizon, where the ship just seems to fall into the water, fall into the sea, we get that feeling, because after a particular stage we cannot see the ship. The sail, he says, but you could call it a ship, a boat, a sail, whatever. So there are two comparisons here. You are standing there and you're waiting for the ship to come, as if it's coming from the underworld. Or you're standing here and you're waiting for the ship to disappear. For those of you who haven't been on the beach, I think it's the same feeling when we wait at a railway station. I don't know if you go to railway stations or maybe the airport, and the first sight of the plane that you can see, or you're standing there and then the plane disappears. We could also interpret it as the sunrise and the sunset. What does he say? So sad, so fresh, the days that are no more. After the sinking. Ah, sad and strange as in dark summer dawns the earliest pipe of half-awakened birds to dying ears. When unto dying eyes the casement slowly grows a glimmering square. So sad, so strange, the days that are no more. That repetition. So probably it's a man who is in his last stages of life. Maybe he's lying in bed. Maybe through the window he can see the rising sun. And he thinks to himself, oh, I'm still alive to see another day. And then he probably recounts the life that he has left behind. The days, so sad, so strange, the days that are no more. So as the light of the rising sun, there's also the chirping of the birds. And then a very touching verse, the last one. Dear as remembered kisses after death, and sweet as those by hopeless fancy feigned on lips that are for others, deep as love, deep as first love, and wild with all regret, O death in life, the days that are no more. What can be more sad than looking at someone I love kissing somebody else? So here it's not something that has gone, but probably something that you never had. And so beautifully he says, as sweet as those by hopeless fancy fame. Do you imagine? Oh, she's kissing him, but actually she should have been kissing me. And then he says, deep as first love and wild with all regret. Oh, death in life, the days that are no more. So the days that are over, the past, that I can only recollect because I cannot live them again. Tears, idle tears, why do they spring? For what? No answer, but the questions remain. Tears, idle tears, a 20-line poem, but a great poet like Tennyson can fill it up with so many figures of speech. I'm amazed, I'm amused, and I'm happy as I talk about these figures of speech. What do we have? The whole poem is actually a personal metaphor, because the tears, right? You're probably not really shedding tears, but tears become a metaphor for any kind of sorrow, any kind of sadness. In this poem, of course, it is nostalgia. And then we go on to anaphora. Each succeeding line begins with the same word. Then you have alliteration. I'm not going to explain it or point it out to you. You have simile, right? The simile and the metaphor. Who cannot remember what they mean and how important they are to poets across the ages, across space and time and language. And then, of course, you have personification, right? Look at death being personified here. And then the paradox. We are living, of course, but he talks about death in life when he's talking about the kisses which were meant for him, but he sees it on someone else's lips. So you have the paradox too. Isn't life itself a paradox?
Poem by Tennyson, Part 5, Conclusion, Action.
I read somewhere that if you talk about the past, it actually means that you're getting older. Probably nostalgia too is such a feeling. So when I look at the nostalgia that Tennyson describes here, I think, oh yes, isn't that what life is all about? Each line in the poem is so beautiful. The way he imagines standing on the beach, the way he imagines the setting sun, the way he imagines the sails. What is great poetry? That which can create in your mind the same image that the poet had when he wrote this poem. Would you agree?